The history of the belief in sea monsters is as old as civilization. Every civilization since the beginning of time has had some form of a sea monster in its mythology. Probably the earliest recorded is in Judaism, where there are two. There's Og, the giant who survived the flood and actually swam in the wake of Noah's Ark, keeping its head above water. Moses killed it several thousand years later. Later in the First Testament, we find that something called the Leviathan, or the Leviathan, as it's commonly known. The Leviathan is basically just an early sea monster, and it's believed by the early commentators, by Rashi in the 11th century, that God created two Leviathans, one female and one male. The male he slaughtered and salted to make it kosher, and served it to man. If they had populated the earth, if the male and female Leviathan had reproduced, they would have undoubtedly conquered the entire world, that species. So we have several other civilizations that have records of sea monsters in their mythologies. We have Aspidocalon, a very common one to the early Mesopotamians. Capricorn, which is a Babylonian sea monster. It's actually a water goat. The Greek one was not actually the Kraken. The Kraken was actually a Scandinavian monster. The Greeks believed in a monster called Hydra, although it did have several fins and a tail. And then there was the rainbow fish. The rainbow fish was the Hindu sea monster. So every major civilization since the history of time has had a sea monster of some kind. And the reason for this is because it represents the unknown.